Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines, and you're going to love them. Bitstamp, Bitcoin, Novogratz. Oh, my goodness. CBDC is a grave threat. You're going to want it. And the Fed is rolling out crypto oversight for U.S. banks. Oh, my goodness. Digital dollar project, SWIFT, DLT, and tokens. Oh, you're going to want all of that. ISDA, DTC, and Ripple. And guess what else? Breaking news right now. Bank of International Settlements and Ripple joins the International Task Force. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.24 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 1.7% in the last 24. 30,000 plus right now for Bitcoin. It's been wanting to cross over, and it just did. Ethereum, 1869 and change, 83.5 billion plus for Tether market cap. At the number 5 spot right now, XRP is 65 cents, up a solid 4% in the last 24 hours. Still off by 5.9 on the 7-day. Let's take a look at this. This is a reminder from Jason Cousins, the CEO of Glint, ladies and gentlemen. They can start working on that crypto bridge with XRP because it's the only digital asset in the United States that has any legal clarity. Write it down. Take a look at this. And you have to understand that this is in lieu of the ruling from Judge Torres as well. Bitstamp to suspend altcoin trading in the United States. For the record, I remind everyone, XRP is not a security. Listen. Here's some more people that need this breaking news right here. I want you to listen to these two gentlemen here prop up the idea of Bitcoin being picked up by all the large institutions. Take a quick listen. By the way, I'm not going to play this whole clip.
This is perfectly timed because Novogratz has been the piñata of Bitcoin when it goes down. It's been the genius of Bitcoin when it goes up. And all.
Let's stop right there. First of all, there is no reason to use genius in the same sentence with Novogratz unless you're explaining what one isn't, right? So, the reality here is this is the contrast of what's going on inside of Wall Street. You just got a strong look at what they're saying at lunch and dinners. They think this guy's a hero, right? They think this guy is a hero. I happen to think, personal opinion, he's crooked. I happen to think that Mike Novogratz is a symbol for anyone can become extremely wealthy because he certainly didn't do it because he was brilliant. Listen a little further.
All of a sudden, Larry showed up at the door to say, hey, big respectable firms can prosecute and do Bitcoin. Link Lawrence Fink of BlackRock to Mike Novogratz.
Well, what's happened is people, as you suggest, make fun of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but now the establishment, Larry Fink at BlackRock, is now saying they're going to have an ETF, if approved by the government, in Bitcoin.
And by the way, we're not going to listen to another second of that nonsense, but I'll tell you this, I don't think that they're wrong. I think they are going to get that spot Bitcoin ETF, and I think it is going to be very positive for the market. But I also want people to understand that I believe this is Wall Street playing you for their own gains, as they always have been. Look, we know the ruse underneath of Bitcoin. The algorithm SHA-256, the core of Bitcoin's existence, is patented by the National Security Agency. That's not exactly anti-bank, anti-establishment. That sounds like a psyop to me. And at some point, I'm sure if we continue to see the blessing from regulators not pursuing large institutions from taking a position in Bitcoin, it will certainly signal to me, speculative, that they are allowed to take a position in it while the markets, the traditional markets, correct or collapse. And this allows them to get the hedge and the money from every other place that the money will run to when it leaves the traditional markets, because I'm telling you, it's going to evaporate 40% or more, I would imagine, when this thing finally falls. Some people might not want to hear it anymore. But this is where the market is right now. I get contacted every day about people still confused about what Bitcoin is or isn't because of the mainstream adoption, regardless of the facts. You know, the tulip craze was the first financial bubble. Then the dot-com bubble. Remember that? Yeah, we had a bubble in that too. I see a bubble for Bitcoin at some point. I can tell you that. What does it do? Really quickly here. I'm not going to get my needle stuck. But they never talk about what it does, because it doesn't do anything. The idea that we could use Bitcoin and send it and not use a bank, and you don't know my information, I don't know yours, it's just a wallet address, and I could send the money, and it's all independent. Look, that's the idea. That's the vision that it showed the world what is possible. Just like the first cell phone showed the world what is possible. But we've moved on. We have smartphones now. Nobody's still using the regular old flip phone, no interweb, right? It's where we're at. More breaking news. Not only did Ripple XRP ruling send shockwaves through the SEC, it also sent a lightning bolt of electricity through every early investor in the unregistered ICO. Ethereum itself isn't a security, I say, but those early sales with disguised whales are. Ain't that right, Mikey? Galaxy CEO Mike Novogratz said that Ripple ruling sent shockwaves to the SEC. I bet there's shockwaves running through him. Then this presidential candidate right here says that CBDCs are a grave threat to liberty. I agree with him. And I tell you, we have to make sure that the right things are in place to keep a firewall between the private central bank, the Federal Reserve, and a firewall between the U.S. government and the Treasury and every other agency. It doesn't mean it can't be regulated. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's none of their damn business what you do with your money unless you've broken a law. And just like cops on a highway, I could be registered. I have registration. I have a license plates. I have a driver's license, right? And whether you like it or not, you're going to need a KYC and AML. It's the same equivalent. But if you're not speeding and swerving and endangering other people on that highway, they got no reason to pull you over. Same thing goes for finance and moving money. If I'm not doing something that looks suspicious, you got no need to ask for a warrant to look in to see whose address or wallet that is. It's very simple. And we'll see how this all unfolds, because breaking right here, the Federal Reserve announces outline of crypto-related oversights at U.S. banks. Yeah, it's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. They're outlining it, and you're going to like the way this goes, I think, because I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. And they just basically say they don't provide any great detail here, other than the fact that the outline of the program aims to regulators will enhance the supervision of novel activities such as crypto asset custody, crypto collateralizing lending, facilitating crypto asset trading, and engaging in stablecoin dollar token issuance or distribution. It goes on, but you get the picture here. Well, here's the bigger picture. If Congress doesn't do it, FSOC will. FSOC is the Financial Stability Oversight Council. I've been talking about them for years. They were grilled last year by Elizabeth Warren on why they haven't stepped in this crypto space as of yet, because they do not need Congress's approval. Who is FSOC? Well, I'm going to rattle off a few of them for you. It is a combination of prudential regulators and market regulators. Market regulators being the SEC and CFTC. Prudential regulators being like the Fed, the Treasury, OCC, CFPB, you name it. All of them collectively sit as FSOC. And you just heard one of the members of FSOC announce that they're going to do crypto oversight for U.S. banks. They're taking action. And what I'm showing you here is here is the guy who was an architect for the Dodd-Frank Act, which birthed FSOC. It's Michael S. Barr, formerly from the U.S. Treasury, formerly a Ripple advisor, now the vice chair of supervision for the Board of Governors at the Federal Reserve. Make of that what you will. Then I highlight the digital dollar project. It is so important, as that presidential candidate has said, that we keep a firewall. He didn't say this, I'm saying this, but obviously a CBDC directly connected to the government or the private central bank is a no-go for me. This is why I push Christian Carlo's digital dollar project so much, because I believe he has expressed that you could have private sector sit in between as a firewall between the government and the private central banks, issue a stable coin to regulatory framework, and you could have your privacy of what you do with your money, as long as you're not breaking the law, right? This is, I believe, the best way to move forward. USDC could fall into that category. It could absolutely be announced at some point that USDC is the retail digital facing dollar. And you know what? The United States is no longer behind now, are they? Now we're in the front of the pack. It could happen just like that. And everything turns, because everyone's overlooking the idea that instead of a CBDC being released, we could just use a private digital dollar. I think it's the best way to move forward. Swift right here talks very quickly about moving towards digital ledger technology and token-based payment rails. This is what we're going to. This is the fourth industrial revolution, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Jevons paradox happening and unfolding right before our eyes. We are watching the standardization of the financial industry through digitization, new payment rails implementation, market infrastructure, and tokenization. That's what we're seeing here. And some more words that rhyme with gymnasium. Take a listen to this clip real quick.
I agree with all of her observations in terms of cross-border payments continues to remain challenging. Domestic payment infrastructures have improved by leaps and bounds. UPI in India, PIX in Brazil, and many more have delivered instant payments 24/7. Cross-border is where the challenges continue to lie. It relies on correspondent banking. Banks like us, are the ones who are running the rails, but there are obvious challenges in an account-based model. So we firmly believe that message-based infrastructure, which is what powers the card networks, SWIFT, will give way to token-based infrastructure going forward. And that is where DLT can play a very useful role in terms of these token-based pipes.
We agree. I think he's spot on. I think he's got it nailed. That's JP Morgan's Naveen Malella. I tell you, this is all rolling out. You know what? I want to highlight this point too. Think of this for a moment. Think of the NDAs that we're not aware of as the United States financial industry is processing this ruling, and as they work towards figuring it out and how they're going to move forward. I want you to think about, what does this space, forget the space, what does XRP look like when we start hearing about U.S. institutions rolling and burning out of these NDAs? Non-disclosure agreements just burning off. It'll be up to the partner, not Ripple. It'll be up to the partner to Ripple to decide when they're ready to announce, right? That's how these things usually work. So I couldn't be more excited, and just think about how the landscape looks much different when we see PNC finally announce how they're going to integrate, knowing that they've already been a Ripple partner for years. Bank of America finding out exactly how and when they're going to implement the use of Ripple and XRP in their business model, knowing that they've been a part of Ripple's program for a lot of years. Pretty excited. Just like this, I'm reminding everybody here, but wait till you see this breaking news coming behind it. Oh, it gets better, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, how the news can get better and better when you're not a security. Ripple joins ISDA alongside of R3 to help settle 1.2 quadrillion in derivatives, ladies and gentlemen. Who's the conspiracy theorist now? Ripple settlement, this was back in 2020. All the details were not disclosed. If you remember, Ripple sued R3 because they didn't live up to their end of the bargain, because they allowed them to have an option agreement worth 5 billion XRP. There we have it. I've been saying that. This pre-allocation of option contracts of XRP has never, ever, ever been a conspiracy theory. Period. Full stop. That's the truth. And now they're going to work alongside of each other to help settle that 1.2 quadrillion. And I'm sure that quarter platform could sure use a legally clarified digital asset to help get it done. That's right. XRP. Yeah. That's the one. Here's a reminder. Chad Steingraber, who's been absolutely on fire, DTC Project Ion. He shows here the article to go with it on settlement for digital assets and other services for settlement and clearing. I want to remind people that are new to this space that back in 2015, Ripple Labs named Donald Donahue as an advisor at the time, who was the former CEO of the very DTC that clears and settles $1.2 quadrillion. That gentleman was an advisor for a period of time on Ripple's board. How about them apples? How about that, huh? Project Ion. There it is, right there. Isn't that interesting? Distributed ledger technology. Are we speculating? You damn right we are. But how thin is the limb that we're standing on, knowing that they have already joined ISDA to help settle the 1.2 quadrillion that the DTC actually processes? Ripple playing chess, not checkers. You can write that down. And here's breaking news. If we're so far off the mark, then why has Ripple joined the Bank of International Settlements task force? What do you think that happened for? Ripple is directly working with the BIS, Bank of International Settlements, central bank for central banks. Let that sink in, says Matthew Linai. Give him a follow. Here it is. Cross-border payments, interoperability, and extension, task force composition, and bingo, bango, bongo, there they are. They're on the list with CLS Clearinghouse, which is enormous, EBA Clearing, enormous, Finality, MasterCard, heard of that one. Look at the list. SWIFT, RTGS, for God's sake. The Clearinghouse. Look, who believes that they're on there? Look, they probably, you know what? I'm probably wrong. This is probably not right? This is probably all twisted up. You can see the list goes on. Bank of China, Wells Fargo, New Bank, right? UK Finance, Japan Bankers Association. Look at these. What are we talking about here? If people don't see what's coming, they never will. Ripple didn't join ISDA, and Ripple didn't join the BIS International Task Force because they're going to be responsible for brownies at the bake sale this month. This is going down. We just have never known when. And here's what it's going to look like, because it doesn't take an MIT grad to figure out what's going to happen here.
Simply, there is relatively speaking, leaving forks aside, there's relatively speaking fixed supply, and you have increasing demand. And when endowments and institutions, Joey and I sat in a meeting not that long ago with, some of the largest institutional money in the world trying to get smart about crypto. They owned zero on that day. I don't know if they do today. But as they enter the market, you have fixed supply, increasing demand. You don't have to go to MIT to know what's going to happen.
No, you don't, do you? Not financial advice from me, Brad Garlinghouse, or anyone else. It's just our digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.